Skip Bayless, the outspoken sports commentator and media personality, recently broke his silence on what he calls the most shocking and personally painful moment of his career: Tom Brady passing on quarterback Shedeur Sanders during the 2025 NFL Draft. In an emotional and fiery broadcast, Bayless described the decision as his biggest shame in decades of following, analyzing, and commenting on football, arguing that the snub not only affected his credibility but also left fans and analysts alike in disbelief. Bayless opened his segment with an unfiltered account of his reaction when the news broke. "I couldn't believe it," he said. "I've been covering football for more than 30 years, analyzing every draft, every prospect, every quarterback that comes through college. And to see Brady pass on Shedeur Sanders, it was like a punch to the gut. Honestly, it's my biggest shame because I missed this one. I didn't anticipate this, and I'll carry it with me." The commentator explained why Sanders' talent made him such a critical prospect. According to Bayless, Sanders possessed a rare combination of poise, arm talent, and leadership skills that made him an immediate difference-maker at the NFL level. "This wasn't a guy you needed to develop slowly," Bayless argued. "He could step in and command a team, read defenses, make accurate throws under pressure, and elevate those around him. To pass on that kind of talent? It's unthinkable." Bayless didn't stop at Sanders' physical and mental attributes. He highlighted the young quarterback's remarkable college career, citing moments when Sanders led his team to last-minute victories, executed complex reads with surgical precision, and displayed a maturity beyond his years. "You can teach mechanics, you can teach schemes, but leadership and football IQ? That's innate, and Sanders has it in abundance," Bayless emphasized. "Missing out on him was more than a draft mistake, it was a lapse in judgment that shook me to my core as an analyst." According to Bayless, the decision had broader consequences beyond just the draft board. He argued that Brady's choice could impact the team's performance, fan engagement, and the perception of the quarterback's legacy as an executive and team decision-maker. "Every draft decision sends ripples through the league," Bayless said. "A quarterback of Sanders' caliber can define a franchise for years. Passing on him leaves you with regrets, doubts, and what-ifs that haunt not just the team but everyone invested in the sport." Bayless admitted that part of the frustration stemmed from his own role as a commentator. "I hold myself accountable," he said. "I try to anticipate moves, predict draft picks, evaluate talent. And yet, this one got past me. It's my biggest shame because I didn't see it coming, and now I feel complicit in the shockwaves it caused. I watched the reactions, the disbelief, and I thought, I should have called this. That failure is mine to carry." Social media erupted following Bayless' broadcast, with fans and analysts debating whether Brady's choice was a tactical misstep or a defensible move. Many supported Bayless' outrage, noting Sanders' combination of accuracy, poise, and leadership as rare qualities in a quarterback prospect. Others argued that draft decisions are inherently uncertain and that evaluating fit, character, and system compatibility is critical. Bayless, however, remained unyielding, insisting that Sanders' readiness and ceiling made him a once-in-a-generation opportunity that should never have been ignored. Bayless also reflected on how the snub contrasted with other notable draft moments in his career. He pointed out that while there have been surprise picks, trades, and overlooked prospects, none had personally affected him as deeply as Sanders being passed over. "I've covered drafts where players fell unexpectedly, sure," he said. "But this one hit differently. I felt like I failed, like the football world failed. It's not just the player or the pick, it's the missed potential, the stories that will never unfold, the what-could-have-beens. That's what makes it my biggest shame." The commentator went on to critique the broader analysis ecosystem, arguing that many media figures miss the significance of Sanders' talent. "We're supposed to be the experts," Bayless said. "We're supposed to break down the tape, project players, and recognize talent. And yet, the reaction to this pick proved how easy it is to overlook the obvious. Sanders wasn't a gamble, he was a guarantee of talent. Overlooking him is embarrassing, and it makes me reflect on my own failures in anticipation." Bayless also underscored the human element of draft decisions. He noted that quarterbacks like Sanders carry expectations, dreams, and potential that affect their lives and careers. "It's not just a pick," Bayless said. "It's someone's opportunity, their moment to shine. Watching Sanders get passed over was heartbreaking. It's why I call it my biggest shame, not because I was wrong about a player's talent, but because I underestimated how the decision would reverberate, and I didn't catch it in time to warn fans, analysts, or teams." Despite the criticism, Bayless emphasized that the controversy also presents motivation for Sanders. "This kid has a chip on his shoulder now," Bayless said. "Being overlooked by Brady, passed over when everyone expected him to be taken early. This fuels him. If he's smart, he'll channel that disappointment into performance, proving everyone wrong, including me. It's a bittersweet situation, because while it's my biggest shame, it could also mark the start of Sanders' legendary career. Bayless' reflection also touched on the nature of accountability in professional sports. He stressed that draft decisions, especially involving quarterbacks, carry enormous weight. One pick can define a franchise, a career, even a legacy, he said. Missing a quarterback like Sanders isn't just a draft error, it's a failure of responsibility. And because I cover this league, analyze these players, and educate the audience, I feel that failure personally. That's why I call it my biggest shame. The broadcast concluded with Bayless calling for honesty, reflection, and better talent evaluation processes. He urged teams and analysts alike to learn from the episode, emphasizing that the stakes of draft decisions are too high to ignore. Football is a game of precision, preparation, and judgment, he said. Passing on Sanders showed what happens when judgment falters. As analysts, we must hold ourselves accountable, and as a fan of the game, I carry the weight of that misjudgment personally. That is why this is, without question, my biggest shame. For fans and followers of the NFL, Bayless' candid admission adds a compelling layer to the ongoing discussion about draft strategy, quarterback evaluation, and Tom Brady's role in shaping team rosters. While Sanders now faces the challenge of proving himself at the professional level, Bayless' meltdown underscores the human and emotional stakes that accompany the league's high-profile decisions. Ultimately, Skip Bayless' declaration of shame reveals not just his passion for football, but the depth of investment analysts feel in the game. For him, Brady's draft choice was more than a headline. It was a personal affront to the principles of talent recognition, accountability, and excellence he has spent decades championing. The story of Sanders, Brady, and Bayless is a cautionary tale about expectations, oversight, and the profound impact of a single decision in the NFL.